Oh my goodness, that's right. We are back here with the Midweek Report. Like I said, I want to get more consistent with doing these things here on YouTube with the Midweek Report. We want to have these type of discussions on here on YouTube for the boxing fans. Shout out to all the boxing fans that have supported this channel. Of course, we got interviews, podcasts, and more here on the Boxing Source YouTube channel. We're going to see if we could get a little bit more content, particularly with what's happening over the course of the weekend. Of course, we got two big welterweight fights that will take place on Saturday. I will be at Atlantic City for the Boots Ennis Roman Villa fight card. So I will have content for that particular fight card over the weekend. So be sure to tune in with all of that. But of course, I had to chime in on this joint, man. I had to chime in on this joint. We have this whole thing in reference to what's going down in the lightweight division. Of course, you have the undisputed, that's right, the undisputed lightweight champion, Devin the Dream Haney. Of course, he's looking to see what's going to be next after his win over Vasily Lomachenko. And you know what? I think there's still some people sour that Vasily Lomachenko didn't get that decision in Las Vegas. But we know that Devin Haney is the undisputed champion. That was his second defense of that undisputed championship. And now it's looking like, hey, what would be next for Devin the Dream Haney? Now, people are talking about, hey, maybe he could get in the ring with, two division world champion. Now in the lightweight division, Shakur Stevenson. Of course, he was a unified champion at 130. He was a WBO champion at 126. Now he's campaigning at 135. And, ever since his fight that he had against Shoichiro Yoshino on April over in Newark, he has been calling out the name of Devin Haney, saying, listen, I'm next. I should be next. I should be next in line. And then after what happened with Devin Haney and Vasily Lomachenko, you've seen Shakur Stevenson get in the ring. Now, the whole thing is, some folks are saying, hey, maybe that fight could, end up being next up for Devin Haney there to defend those undisputed titles. And now it was, going over the past few days, the big little topic or the big story is this quote unquote, and yes, I said quote unquote, report saying that, there would have been a potential split with Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson, where, Shakur Stevenson would get 25% of a purse split and Devin Haney would get 75%. Now, I don't know where that's coming from. I'm going to just be honest with you. I ain't know where that was coming from. All right. I don't know like where they were getting that stuff from. Okay. Maybe they were talking about, potentially because Shakur Stevenson would end up being the WBO mandatory, since he is number one in the WBO rankings currently. That if they ordered a fight between Devin and Shakur Stevenson, that would pretty much end up being that 75-25% split. Hey, maybe from a theory perspective, yeah, but on the real, I don't know where that joint came from, but everybody was running with it. A lot of people was running with it. I would say a lot of people was running with it, including the whole thing with Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson. And over the past couple of days, they've been going back and forth in reference to this whole thing. In that, hey, what's up with all of this? Especially with Shakur Stevenson, is like, hey, come on, man, 25%. Come on, man. I ain't even getting, I would get less money, with a 25% split than I got in my previous fights. That's what Shakur Stevenson was saying. But on the flip, you had Devin Haney talking about, what are you talking about? You would get more, with that 25% than you would have got, fighting these other guys, or, including, what you had off those previous fights and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But, it's like both of them were going back and forth on Twitter. It was crazy. Of course, you had the whole thing with Shakur Stevenson. This is like before that whole little quote unquote report came out that Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney were like at an event, at the same event, and Shakur Stevenson sent Devin Haney something in a bottle or something like that, talking about, oh yeah, I'm ready to fight you, or whatever it is. And then this whole stuff comes out in reference to a split or potential split. And now it's like some people are saying that, that Shakur Stevenson turned that down. Well, I mean, first of all, do we know if Shakur Stevenson had an offer? Did he turn it down? Yes or no? And if he turned it down, what does that mean? Does that mean that he's saying, no, I don't want that smoke. I don't want to get in there with Devin Haney for that type of money or whatever split they was talking about? Or is it some type of posturing to where maybe that they'll work out a deal, some type of deal or whatever it is, where all parties involved are able to get the money that they want to, and we actually have a fight taking place? But that ain't what it's looking like right now. It's almost looking like Shakur Stevenson ain't really looking all too good. And, some people have brought up the point that, hey, you know what? Devin Haney did what he had to do in order to become undisputed champion. Of course, we know what happened the years back, 2019, where he was trying to get in to become WBC lightweight champion. You know what I'm saying? And he was pretty much on the verge of that, but it didn't quite happen. You know what I'm saying? And now he just, did it, the long way. He, became interim champion. Then he became full champion WBC. And then he waited to see what was going on, with the rest of the belts. George Kambosos ended up getting them belts. And so he took he took the deal in order to, get short money to fight George Kambosos for undisputed. He did that, beat Kambosos, became undisputed, then, beat Kambosos again to defend those undisputed championships, and then turn around and beat Lomachenko. So he said, you know what? I done put in the hard work. I did what I had to do in order to become undisputed champion, even though, I was coming in there, getting good money in most of my fights. But I took the short end of the stick to fight George Kambosos in order to become undisputed champion. Now I'm the one I'm the one calling the shots in the lightweight division, And he's like, hey, come on, Shakur, you got to earn your stripes. You had, one or two fights, and now you want to say that you want to command something. It's like, nah, that ain't how it worked, So now it's like, hey, what's Shakur Stevenson gonna do? Like, ballers on this court, pretty much. Like, he's saying, like, Devin Haney is talking about, hey, you said, hey, sign the contract. And I'm like, what contract? You know what I'm saying? Oh, big ups to all those on live right now. Hey, Juice in the building. Salute to you. Best month of boxing history. Hey, man, yeah, it's getting started, man. Like I said, we just had what we had on July 1st. Now coming up July 8th. Like I said, you got Sandy Otis versus Ortiz Boots this video this week. The following week, you got Frank Martin in action. Should have Keyshawn Davis that's going to be in action as well. And then later on in the month, Inouye versus Fulton, and then Spence Crawford. So it's going to be a whole lot of action here in the sport of boxing in July, and I can't wait, man. I can't wait. I've been looking forward to this, over the past couple of months. Got a lot of action coming in. Also, hopefully, I could get a little bit of time and interview that will be posted on the channel with Frank Martin ahead of his fight, coming up on this following Saturday. So we're gonna see if we can get in with Frank Martin. But back to this whole thing here with Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson, man. I mean, it's like, what's up with Shakur, man? It's almost looking like he's not looking good as far as like the social media joints, because a lot of people are saying like, hey, if Devin Haney could do what he had to do in order to become undisputed champion. Why can't you do it? Or why can't you, say, hey, let me take, this amount of money in order to fight, fight Devin Haney. If I beat Devin Haney, I'm the undisputed champion. I'm the one that will be calling the shots, you know? And what didn't really help his case was, when you had a former WBO champion at 130, Jamel Herring, post what happened in reference to his negotiations with, the Shakur Stevenson fight that took place in Atlanta, a couple of years ago. It was like, yo, I'm the champ, but I'm the one that got to take, short money. That that don't make sense. Like I'm the one that went ahead. I'm the one that went. I think it went across the pond or whatever it was, or did what he had to do in order to become a WBO champ at 130. And then once Shakur Stevenson became the mandatory, and Jamel Herring, said, hey, okay, we could see if we can make this happen. Hey, he ended up getting a short end of the stick instead of the 75-25% split that's supposed to, be in favor of the champ. So, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't look, all too good in reference to Shakur Stevenson's part. But, like we've had Shakur Stevenson has had, a couple of fights over in Newark. He's had pretty good crowds over in Newark. While on the flip side, you had Devin Haney that has had, multiple fights in multiple venues. Of course, he came off of fighting Vasily Lomachenko in Las Vegas. And, that was, something that was pretty good on his part. But, it's been a good little bit since he's, had a fight where we pretty much gauge where he is as far as like popularity goes. Probably since the Jojo Diaz fight almost 2 years ago. You had that fight. You had the the Linares fight that was before that. Of course, your York is Gamboa, but that was like 2020. So you know what happened there in 2020 and whatnot. But outside of that, most of the fights that he's had, he's been able to get some good money instead of those George Kambosos fights. So he already has his asking price set, and we already know that he had like about $4 million, at least $4 million for his fight against Vasily Lomachenko. While on the flip side with Shakur Stevenson, like what was Shakur Stevenson getting for the fights that he's pretty much had? Like I would say around like $1 million or something like that. Maybe. That's the only thing that I could see. But like outside of that, where's like Shakur Stevenson, saying like, hey, he's getting more than 1 million or something like that. I don't know. But the thing is like saying like, hey, if Shakur is like saying that he really doesn't like feel like he should be getting 25% of the split. Like say for example, the person would be $4 million, right? Then Devin Haney would get like 3 million, and Shakur Stevenson would get like 1 million, or something else like that, or who knows? You know what I'm saying? Like, or if Devin Haney was getting like 6 million, and Shakur Stevenson was getting 2 million, like that would be the thing if they had this 75-25% split. If, as I said, if the WBO had enforced a mandatory or named Shakur Stevenson a mandatory for that WBO lightweight title. But it's like, hey, Shakur Stevenson kind of like, he had his little explanation as why he wouldn't take 25% or whatever it is. But, you got, some folks that's saying like, hey, man, you should go ahead and take that 25% and say, you know what, go take that 25%, handle business. And you say that you're confident that you could beat Devin Haney, go ahead and take that 25% of whatever it is or whatnot, beat Devin Haney, and then you would be the one that's the undisputed lightweight champion, and you could call the shots for anybody that's out there. You know what I'm saying? So, I feel like, hey, if there's enough money for it, then probably go for it. But the thing with Shakur Stevenson is, hey, he said like, hey, I've been making like 1 million or 1.5 million, outside of these fights. So where is it where I could like say that I'm taking 25%? Maybe that's the case. But you just to be on the real, the WBO has like made this type of thing happen before, and the most notable one was the whole thing with Terrence Crawford and Sean Porter when they named Sean Porter the mandatory. But Sean Porter, of course, was former champion or whatnot, actually two-time champion at the time, and he's been in big fights. So with that being said, they didn't make the split like a 75-25% split. WBO made the exception for that. So it ended up being the split that it was, where it was like 60-40. Now, will it happen here in this case with Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson? Man, I don't know. But right now, with how Shakur Stevenson kind of handled himself, on Twitter and whatnot, it ain't really looking good for him. But, he might have to clean up a few things and whatnot and just say, hey, look, this is where I'm at. This is my status. This is what I've been doing. So, hey, you're gonna have to come out, better than that. Now, on the flip, though, Devin Haney got a lot of options as an undisputed champion. He can fight, a good number of other people out there within the lightweight division, and two names are pretty much out there. People still have the demand for a rematch between him and Vasily Lomachenko. I don't know why, but that's for those that feel like Lomachenko won. But there's also one other fight out there, and of course, it is the most lucrative fight around, and that is Devin Haney versus Gervonta Tank Davis. Now, if he can hold off or hold out and then see if it is possible for a fight between him and Tank Davis to take place by the end of the year, that will be, of course, easily the biggest fight out there in the division by far. So you could have Devin Haney versus Tank Davis by the end of the year, if possible, if this whole thing with Shakur Stevenson ain't hit. So then where would that leave Shakur Stevenson? Some say that, hey, there have been some fighters that have turned down, I guess, opportunities to fight Shakur Stevenson. But on the flip side, man, where does Shakur Stevenson go? It's not like it's a lockdown guarantee that he could end up fighting Vasily Lomachenko. Some have said that Vasily Lomachenko could still end up moving down to 130 pounds. So if he does that, then hey, that fight between Stevenson and Lomachenko, that's out the window. So then who else is Shakur Stevenson going to fight? Is it going to be Jermaine Ortiz? Like, is he going to wait for what happens with George Kambosos? Like, who knows, man? Like, so it's almost like, Shakur Stevenson really ain't got, that much leeway out here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Shout out to Terrell Thomas in the building, of course, the chef. Yeah, Tank has already had 2 fights this year, of course, with Hector Luis Garcia and Ryan Garcia. Now, it would be ideal for Tank Haney to be a late fall fight. Now, I'm telling you, that could be in the works. We just had to figure out what is gonna happen after Tank, does his time. Once he's done with that, then how is he going to be coming out of, his jail time or whatever it is? I mean, what was that, 90 days? And he's already, 30 days in or something like that? So, hey, he gets out, by August, September, and then you see what happens October, November. And then maybe, he could get in and they could have a fight by the end of the year. Who knows? But if it isn't that, then I would say Devin Haney moves up to 140 and fights Teofimo Lopez. I am not buying Teofimo Lopez saying that he's retired. Listen, if it's enough money, if it makes sense, he'll get back in the ring and he'll fight Devin Haney. And both of those guys, they pretty much have like a little bit of a rivalry of their own too. Of course, with what Teofimo Lopez was saying, a while back after he defeated Lomachenko, talking about Devin Haney isn't a full champion or whatnot. So I say that fight is still intriguing, still attractive enough for a top rank to have. You know what I'm saying? So if you can't have Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevenson, you can still have Devin Haney versus Teofimo Lopez. I don't see why that fight, wouldn't be able to take place. That's something that I see is one thing that could be in the works. But on the flip, like I said, Shakur Stevenson, man, like where do you go from here, man? Where do you go from here? You say like, oh, okay, yeah, I want to fight Dev, but what will you sacrifice in order to fight Devin Haney? That's the question. That's the question right there. Like, what are you willing to sacrifice? Are you saying like, hey, I'm willing to take a little bit of a pay cut, this is it, or whatever it is, in order to fight Devin Haney for undisputed. I'm not saying like, hey, he's gonna be like Devin Haney, where Devin Haney took like, what is it, about and I say, what was that, like 900K or something like that? It was like under $1 million in one of them fights that he had against George Kambosos. And was still able to fight for undisputed. So if Haney could take those or make those concessions in order to fight for undisputed, what will Shakur Stevenson do, as far as like a concession in order to, fight for undisputed? What will he be able to do? You know what I'm saying? Man, like I said, man, I really don't know, man. H. says, as much as we would love to see Shakur fight Haney, he is still new to the division. Get in line, bro. Yeah, that's the thing. Like he's still like I would say a baby or something like that in the division. You know what I'm saying? So he only had that one fight against Yoshino that was officially at lightweight. When he fought Conceição, that was supposed to be at 130 pounds. It was just that Shakur Stevenson came in overweight and didn't want to really make weight. So he's only had one fight, just one in the lightweight division, and now he wants to say, hey, to a certain extent, he wants to call the shots, saying that he should be immediately there in line to, fight for the world title. Don't quite work like that. So why not just go ahead and have one other fight that's out there? I would say go ahead and try to earn your stripes. Push for the fight against Vasyl Lomachenko. And this is why I say you should push for the fight against Vasyl Lomachenko. Hey, you just had Devin Haney and Lomachenko. That was a close fight. If you show that you can beat Lomachenko and it's not even close, blow him away, then you would have that buzz that says, hey, now he should fight Devin Haney. Now he will be able to say, hey, you know what? I did this against Lomachenko. You weren't able to do this against Lomachenko. Let's go in here. Let's step up and let's fight. And he would have been able to earn the stripes because he would be at that point pretty much around the top contender there in the lightweight division to fight for those titles that Devin Haney has. So why not go ahead and go after Lomachenko instead of just saying, hey, listen, because we done had a little bit of scraps here and there and in the boxing gyms and this and that, and I'm confident that I have more skills than you. I should go ahead and fight you right now, But that has been Shakur Stevenson, from the time that he's, officially entered in the 135-pound division. But hey, sometimes you're just gonna have to earn your stripes or whatnot. That's why this whole thing with the report about this 25% or whatever it is. Hey, that's what it is in the WBO. So if you what you gonna do? If you gonna wait for the WBO to order you as a mandatory, if you do, then that's gonna be the rule. 75-25 is a rule. Now, if they make an exception, given what you may have earned over your past few fights, hey, maybe that could be the case. But you're not going to get something like how Andy Ruiz Jr. is demanding a 50-50 split with Deontay Wilder. It's not going to be like that. No, that ain't happening. So why not go ahead and try to negotiate or have something on the table with Bob Arum? Because that's who you're pretty much under. You're under Bob Arum. You're under Jay Prince. You're under Antonio Leonard. Those guys pretty much are your managers, your advisors, your promoters. Those are the guys that pretty much, hey, they're the ones that control like what goes down in your career. I mean, you could say that you want this guy, you want that guy, whatever it is, but as long as those guys have a hand in where your career goes, hey, that's about as far as it gets for you. Just being upfront, that's as far as it gets for Shakur Stevenson. So Devin Haney, with him having the belts, him pretty much calling the shots in reference to that. Like I said, there's only one fighter out there in the division where Devin Haney can't really call the shots. Of course, that's Gervonta Tank Davis. But outside of that, anyone else, he pretty much is the top guy. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much the gist of it, man. I mean, what in the world is Shakur Stevenson going to do? Is he going to try to have somebody like renegotiate or go to Bob Arum and have this thing renegotiated and say if he could get a bigger split, then he could go ahead and fight Devin Haney? Or is he just going to continue to, try to look for other fighters that he could end up fighting? Like I said, the next best fight for Shakur Stevenson at this point in the lightweight division is Vasyl Lomachenko. Because I'm going to tell you this right now, even though the coach there, Kenny Ellis, did call out Shakur Stevenson for Tank Davis, Bob Arum and company, they're not going to have Shakur Stevenson fighting Tank Davis. Nope, that's not going to happen. So the next best thing is for Shakur Stevenson to fight Vasyl Lomachenko. Why not? Go ahead and have that fight happen. Because outside of that, who else do you have? Jermaine Ortiz? How many people are going to be interested in the fight with Shakur Stevenson and Jermaine Ortiz? Really going to wait out what happens with George Kambosos Jr. and Maxie Hughes? Are you going to wait out for that and then have Shakur Stevenson fight the winner of that? Of course, you know that his little brother ain't going to fight him, and Keyshawn Davis. That ain't going to happen. So, I mean, that leaves very little options there for Shakur Stevenson. While like I said, Devin Haney, hey, he has that rematch. He has, like I said, he has a rematch with Lomachenko if that's possible. He could move up to 140. There's multiple fights at 140 he could have. There's the outside chance of him fighting, Tank Davis, because he isn't really locked down to top rank like that. He isn't. Shakur Stevenson is. So, hey, Devin Haney got options. Shakur Stevenson, not so much. Shout out to Bruce Scott, Boxing Jazz and more in the building. Salute to you. Of course, great boxing historian. Y'all can check out his YouTube channel, for great analysis on past fights and war. So y'all can go ahead and check out this channel. Big ups to everybody that's listening live here on the Boxing Source, supporting the Boxing Source here on the Midweek Report. That pretty much is like, what I had. I don't know if there's like anyone else that has their thoughts on what's going down, with Shakur, Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney, man. I mean, I'm like, yo, I just think this is one thing that, like, I still think that they're going to be going back and forth on this, but as far as like having an actual fight take place, I don't see it. I just feel like it's unlikely that that's going to happen, man. I feel like it's unlikely, but from a fan's perspective, it seems like a number of fans are, not really in favor of what Shakur Stevenson is talking about. Especially with a lot of the actions that he had in the past. Like I said before, he was the one that stepped in the ring after the decision in favor of Devin Haney over Vasily Lomachenko. He's the one that sent a message out to Devin Haney, when they were both in the same venue for like a party that was going on a few weeks back. But now, when it comes to actual negotiations or actual options, hey, this said it is what it is. Devin Haney's the one that pretty much holds the cards. Like Devin Haney said, like when they had multiple options for Devin Haney, initially it was like Shakur Stevenson wasn't really one of those options. It wasn't. But now that he is kind of being brought up, that's the thing. That's like the possibility. Is like, hey, they might have it to where they have the situation of Shakur Stevenson being the WBO mandatory, and that if he's a WBO mandatory and they have those rules, it's open to negotiation, and if it goes to negotiations first, that's what Devin Haney's kind of like posing. So, hey, it is what it is, man. Some people are saying, like, since Devin Haney went ahead and did what he had to do in order to become undisputed champion, that other fighters such as Shakur Stevenson should have to pretty much do the same thing. And as of right now, it doesn't really look like Shakur Stevenson wants to do it. But I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens on that. But yeah, that was my take on that whole thing, because it looks like a lot of people are talking about it, but like I said before, that whole offer thing, no one knows who offered it. No one knows who sent that out, because like I said, Devin Haney's been on the top rank for his first 3 fights. He has an option. I think he said maybe he has an option under that afterwards. But he's not really, at least as far as I know, Devin Haney's not completely committed to top rank. Okay, but Shakur Stevenson is, and with that being said, Shakur Stevenson, with how things work with him and his little contract, and who's who has hands in his pockets, as they say. Yeah, he might want a little bit more than what some people are saying that he's being proposed for a fight against Devin Haney, especially with it being for the undisputed lightweight championship. Hey, those sanctioning bodies are gonna have a percentage of the purse. If you end up winning, so you're gonna have to give up a percentage of that. You have to give up a percentage of your promoter, your manager, your managers, plural, so to speak. So yeah, you probably would want a little bit more money for a fight against Devin Haney. I don't blame you. But as far as like right now, yeah, it's not looking too good on the PR side for Shakur Stevenson. We'll see how that goes, man. But yeah, wanted to just chop it up with y'all in reference to that. Like I said, that'll probably be a very good fight if it did happen in the lightweight division. But of course, the biggest fight in the lightweight division right now, as of right now, would be Tank Davis versus Devin Haney. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't think that fight's out of the cards this year. Just saying. I don't think that Tank Davis versus Devin Haney is out of the cards for this year. It could end up happening at the end of this year. If they say, hey, there's nothing out there for Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevenson, hey, you could have Tank Davis versus Devin Haney. I'm just saying it. So there's that. I'm like I said, man. You got a lot of action that's coming up on this month. Of course, you had what happened last weekend. This weekend, you have Iamana Stanionis versus Virgil Ortiz Jr. Y'all be sure to catch that on the zone. And then you have on Showtime, Boots Ennis versus Roman Villa. So those are two very good welterweight fights that we're going to have on Saturday night. Like I said, I'll be on site for the Boots Ennis versus Roman Villa fight card. That's going to be a doozy for that. And like I said, man, we'll likely have a little bit more stuff as far as like having these midweek reports coming up on Wednesdays. So we'll get caught up on boxing news and everything like that. You're also going to be, like I said, going to be working on getting more interviews on the YouTube channel. We're seeing if we could get Frank Barton on for an interview before his upcoming bout that he's going to have too. That's in the lightweight division as well. So y'all stay tuned for that. And then of course, as always, on Saturdays, we have some content on for Saturdays. And then Sunday, live, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time scheduled. The Boxing Source podcast. We get it in there. Of course, we have Boxing Academic. We have the chef Terrell there in there. So have some other guests on there to join in as well. So y'all tune in for that. But yeah, that's what we have on the schedule here on the Boxing Source. We thank all for supporting the Boxing Source here. And this wanted to get this in quick. It was like around 9:15 Eastern time. So just wanted to get that in. Not have really that much to go down to have this thing stretch out too long. But we'll get right back at it, like I said, here on the channel, Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time with the podcast. But in reference to this particular midweek report, had to, chime in on this particular topic. Thanks again for watching live, y'all watching live. And those that are watching the replay, you like what I was saying, hit the like button or, put in a comment saying like, who do you think, was in the right, was it Devin Haney or is it Shakur Stevenson? We appreciate the feedback here on the Boxing Source YouTube channel. And we will see y'all later here on YouTube. Until then, I'll catch y'all. Peace out.